Hi, my name is Cherie Ray. I'm a coach and consultant based in Houston, Texas. I offer these free Friday conversations to bring my global community together to have conversations that bring understanding, insight, with the intention of making life easier. Today's conversation is titled Losing Weight Where You Carry It the Most. Do you want to feel lighter? Do you feel heavy, bogged down? Maybe you feel like you're carrying the responsibility of the world on your shoulders. In the following conversation, we'll discuss how to feel lighter without exercising or cutting the first calorie. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for taking a listen. And please share the conversation with anyone you feel might benefit. This is how I love for these conversations to go is I have a topic that comes to mind for me, and then I love to kind of just share with the insight I had around it, and then be able to open the floor for conversation on what occurs to you or what's curious to you about it, and let it just be a free flowing, easy, fun conversation, where uh, I love the idea of where do you find your people, and in some of these topics, it's like, where do you find your people to talk about just the things you're kind of interested in? Because I hear more times than not that some people want to have conversations and they can't have them with the people that are immediately around them, or their friends don't get them, or they have a curiosity about something they'd like to explore. And for whatever reason, it's not good or bad, but they just don't feel like they have where they find their people where they can have conversations. So that's why I have these, because I think it'd just be a great place to have a place where people can gather and have conversations. So sound good? So please be free and speak free and all that good stuff. And welcome. And again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and have this talk. So that's super fun to me. So the insight came to me about really noticing where we carry our weight the most, you know, and it seems like we're so it looks like that feeling of your skinny jeans, you know what I mean? Like when you put on your skinny jeans and there's all that spaciousness in your skinny jeans and they just feel great. And you kind of can't believe you're feeling so light and fluffy in the world, and you're kind of drifting through the world in your skinny jeans, feeling all that, full of possibility, full of sassy, full of freedom, full of I got this. Does that make sense? Does that resonate with anybody but me? No? Yes? Like I said, speak freely. So that's the insight that kind of came in. I got real curious about how we could lose weight in the place we carry it the most, that really most directly impacts our experience of life. And I think the skinny jeans suggest jeans suggest that if I get things arranged just right, I'm going to feel spacious. I'm going to feel light. I'm going to feel uh, rich with potential, that nobody's going to stop me, that I'm going to have this incredible good feeling in life. And and I think it just points to how we keep working real hard at getting um, the outside world in order so I can feel better on the inside, and it's and I just think that that part about the experience, I don't know what it is about the human experience, but I know it's universal that somehow we really think the good feeling in life, or my good experience in life, is going to be available to me from the outside. From the outside, I'll just I'll get it right, and then I'll get a feeling. Or I'll someday I'll be enough or maybe whatever, and I'll get a good feeling. Someday, if I got the right partner, I'd live in a good feeling. If I and, and it's so funny to me how we have this complex mind that loves to find what's wrong, always suggesting there's a right. And if you get there, you'll be happy. To me, it's such a shell game, where they just keep mixing it up and you're trying to figure out under which can is the baseball in, but they keep moving them and they keep moving faster and faster and faster. And you're still trying to catch up so you can get that good feeling. So, when you think about, being able to lose the weight where you carry it the most, and you kind of reflect on when you feel your best, when you feel your lightest. Kind of reflect on that. Like, when do you experience a real lightness, a light feeling in life? When do you feel that?
Cherie, I'll say that that reminded me, and I know that we've talked about this a lot of times, how my external environment is so important, or I think it's so important. But what I'm learning now is my borderline OCD and thinking that the clean house and the perfect yard and everything being in order, in the drawers and cabinets and everything is going to bring me peace. But, I'm finding out that that actually has the opposite effect. And if I allow myself to be a little messy, then it's just finding that middle ground of like, you're not messy, but it's not taking control of your life to worry about the kitchen towel being folded in a perfect square. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So it's like I'm still finding that balance. And it's okay to leave a mess and clean it up in the afternoon, because but that's what I'm getting from what you're saying.
And exactly that is like, I like the idea of what occurred to me when you said that was like, you can have a mess, but that doesn't mean you're a mess. You see what I mean? It's not, it doesn't
But the
have
way
any.
I was, yeah, it's just the way I was brought up. It's just everybody in my family was like that. So, I did that and I was like, this isn't kind of in an alignment is with how I want to spend my time.
That's a real good point about the way you want to spend your time and chasing a good feeling. You see what I mean? It's like, I
Mhm.
think we undersell our our human machine here and our emotional, psychological, spiritual machine, really the spiritual machine, that we sell ourselves short, or our mind sells us short, thinking it has to be a certain way for me to really rest in the peace that I already am.
Mhm.
Underneath all of the just underneath all the accoutrements of life. You know what I mean? We're in a body, we're in a world, we're in a family, we're living in a structure. I mean, something like that. It's like we undersell the fact that we were peace when we came in. At the depth of our being, we are so peaceful and pure love, or essential wholeness, or whatever you want to call it. Talk about it. It's like underneath, before we've ever started to build out our life. Kind of like, to me, it's kind of like lease space. I mean, we're gonna start a business and we're gonna lease out this place in the strip center. Before we build it out, it's kind of how we come into life. We've got this body, and before we build it out, start specking out what we think we need to be okay. We're everything. We're everything. We're essential wholeness and peace. But in that place of like starting to build out our lease space, you know, we go into that zone of right and wrong, good and bad. And we forget. I just think we forget the possibility of peace and relaxation and wholeness, and get to the bottom line, security, and knowing we have what it takes to be in this world You know, I think as we start to build out our space, we lose contact with that knowing, you know? We were living in it. We were living in it, and then we kinda come into this world, and I think we move away from that knowing. Unless, you know, you're raised in a real special culture where, you know, they continually remind you that peace is that you've got this, peace is inside. You don't have anything to worry about. Higher intelligence is on your side. I don't know. It's not where I was raised. No harm, no foul, not finding criticism. I'm just saying that's not where I was brought up, you know, in that you've got this place. You know, you came with everything you needed, you've got this. But wait, that place about okay. I was kind of thinking too, if you realize it's not outside in the physical world, or I want to kind of just and we've determined that being able to lose the weight where you carry it the most has nothing to do with carbs and sugars, you know, has nothing to do with that. It's kind of reflect for a second and just notice where the heavy feeling comes from. Just that heavy feeling. And where do you think what generates it for you? I've got a list of things here, but what generates it for you?
I would say other people.
Okay. All right. And tell me what you mean by other people.
Like that adds weight to life, you mean? Adds weight?
Mhm. As really
Um,
weighs you down.
yeah, just I guess a lot of smaller like small conversations or just the busyness of everything.
Okay. All right. So a real busy
And
mind, all that.
yeah, just busy. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna say my to-do list.
Oh, good one. Good one.
Concern about making a mistake.
Oh, good one too. Yes. Yes. Real.
Sure. Okay. I don't know. As you mentioned earlier, you always set a goal. You say, oh, when I like, let's say for me years ago, when I lose the weight, then when I that's when I start my business, and that's what when I do this, and that, then I'd be happy. It somewhat feels like it's an impossible goal. So then other things also are dependent on that, and it will never happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know necessarily where exactly it's coming from, but it's like, kind of ripple effect.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And even when I was kind of making a list about just noticing what brings a heavy feeling into my head. No, just into my head, knowing that the heavy feeling is coming from my head and what I'm making of things. And it was like um I noticed things I'm not in agreement with, whether it's in my house or globally. I notice that things I'm not in agreement with weigh heavy on my mind. Just things I'm not in agreement with, whether it's, you know, stuff I make up that I did something wrong, they did something wrong, the world should be different, they should be different. The way they are is a problem for me. I mean, you know, it just I just kind of it all went in the bucket of things I'm not in agreement with. Because if I'm in agreement with it, I feel real light, you know. I mean, I feel, you know, fat and sassy, so to speak, you know, if I'm in agreement, but it's not long lived. But just when the weighted down feeling. And then also the pressure. And I think like y'all mentioned, you know, the pressure of the to-do list, the pressure of needing to have a magic number on the scale to move out into the world. That there's somehow even a magic number on the scale is what fuels my confidence to move out in the world and to really see that pressure is only coming from me, my expectations of me, what I've made up about what I've made up about moving out into the world. You know, pressure I think is such huge a huge uh experience of life. And and it really is one of the best camouflages that it looks like it's coming from the world. It really looks like it's coming from from oh my gosh, if I had to think about it, like think about social media. What has that done to what people believe, um, the pressure that they live under of who they need to be, or what their life should look like, or what their relationship should look like, or oh my gosh, I think it's maybe social media has just been the mirror to show what really is going on inside people's head all the time, comparing their world to somebody else's world. So, and I'm not feeling light and happy, so I must be doing it wrong. I'm deficient of something, you know? And but to really be able to see that pressure is generated from 100% from the inside. 100% from the inside. Because believe it or not, there are people out there poking around inside people's brains and they don't feel pressure. You know what I mean? There's a surgeon out there cutting around in somebody's brain and and is can have a feeling, a really relaxed feeling of what they're doing. Isn't that a twist? So I mean, to really see that the pressure is so individual. Now that same surgeon inside somebody's head may, lose it on the freeway, but I mean, they can be everybody can be relaxed in their own zone, depending on what they make up about, you know, I'll say what they make up about how things should be. And if they feel like they should be inside somebody's brain correcting something, they're cool on it. I don't want that job, but it's because I would totally put too much pressure on myself, and I'm not trained, you know. But I think that's such a good example to see that people doing incredibly uh, extreme jobs can just take it in stride like it's a regular day for the rest of us, you know. Pro athletes are great like that. Pro athletes are great like that because they're just doing their thing. So that's pressure. And then I think the other one is another one that contributes to feeling heavy and weighted down is worry. And worry about whatever it is you worry about. And that's everybody's got their thing on that too. They get a lot on their mind and worry and it's that again, it's just picking up I don't know, kettlebells or barbells or anything else that's heavy. Worry about, I don't know. Y'all tell me, what do you worry about the most? What weighs you down in your own head on worry?
The election.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Politics.
yeah, yeah.
My husband was diagnosed with mild dementia, and I don't know how that's going to evolve over the next year. So I'm
Mhm. Totally. Yeah. And you can kind of see that the worry is it is either the past, the future, or the unknown in the moment. It's all in the unknown. Or maybe, I'll say the past, you might know the facts, but you don't know everything there is to know about it. If we knew everything there was to know about it, we would quit looking at it. We'd quit going in the past, poking around and, looking under the rocks, so to speak. So do you kind of consider just in this moment about if you could consider or take to heart enlisting that innate intelligence or wellness or resilience or whatever you want to call it that we had when we were a kid, and really have an inquiry within yourself about how could I take this off my mind, not in a fix it kind of way, but in your own truth and in your own in your own, I'll say common sense of your highest self, the common sense in your highest self is like, now that I know where I'm carrying my extra weight and what weighs me down moment to moment, moment to moment, what can I do on my behalf to lighten my load? What can I do on my behalf to lighten my load, knowing that now we've discovered where we're carrying it? Now that could be, this is something to consider. That could be a moment to moment inquiry, not an ultimate strategy. You see what I mean? Not a strategy that's going to fit you tomorrow. But anytime you start to feel into feeling heavy or feeling like your mind is burdened, feeling like you're carrying too much weight, it's a great place to just inquire between you and your intuition, your gut, your wisdom, going, wait a minute. It's not them. It's not it. What really makes sense in support of my experience of life day to day? And it can be just as common sense when you know where you're carrying the weight. You've really gone to the place of no exceptions where you carry the weight when your mind feels heavy and burdened. No exceptions. It's not in the skinny jeans. It's not in what's right or wrong in the world, but it is in your mind where you're carrying it. And could you have a shift? Could you explore a reality where this isn't a problem? Could you be curious about, if I took it off my mind, what would it feel like? You know, what would it feel like? What would it feel like to play with things always work out for me? I am loved and things always work out for me. How does that feel? Does that feel lighter? Just to kind of know that those avenues are out there, you know, I mean, when we really see where the burdens are coming from, I mean, just what if life really is a blank canvas in my experience and nothing's wrote, you know, nothing's wrote. You know, who made that list about, who made that rule about the to-do list? And if you're a good person, if you do it, and if you're a something else, if you didn't. I mean, we don't, it doesn't matter who made it up, but we got to see where we signed on. That's in our lane of traffic when we sign the contract, you know, that is how life is. And that's not to cast blame or shame or anything else, but it's like to be able to wake up and go, wait a minute, I didn't mean to sign that contract. I'm gonna make it null and void. And you can, moment to moment, moment to moment. Moment to moment. Because when you start to feel weighted down, that heavy feeling is gonna be the alarm that tells you signed on to some contract that's not true. The crappy heavy feeling is going to be what tells you. We think it's telling us something to keep us safe, but it's telling us something that keeps us trapped. Very different. So I'd love for anybody to share anything that's stirring in your head from what we've all shared.
I recently went back to work, and the first day I went back, I thought I did a really good job. And the second day I went back, I found out early that morning that I had made a mistake on something. A small mistake, but still a mistake that was going to cost somebody a trip back to have it fixed. And I immediately remembered why I left. because I felt so much concern or so much, I don't know, bad feeling, because I had made a mistake, and I thought and it's hooked to a whole lot of other things, that I tell myself about making that mistake. And I thought, well, this is a great opportunity for me to make a lot more mistakes if I keep this mindset, and I didn't want to do that, but then I don't know how I got loose from it, but somehow or other, I was able to move forward and not carry it with me. So I guess that's where the moment to moment comes in.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was I could not believe how I just it was like putting on a jacket. All of a sudden, man, I was just like in it, and it was such a different space than I was 5 minutes before, and nothing had changed except that I got some information.
I'm so glad you said that. I mean, the circumstances are exactly the same.
Mhm,
You're
mhm.
sitting in the same spot, doing the same thing, in a completely different experience.
Yes. Yeah. Based on what I told myself about what was happening out here.
Totally, totally, totally. And I think what you point to is so helpful for all of us is that it's not realistic to not have a misstep in life. It's not realistic. It's just not. Nobody I've ever known or will ever live is not gonna have a misstep.
Yeah.
Read an 8 for a 3 or lose their footing on the curb or what I mean, just so that part about, oh, you can reflect and go, hmm, hmm, hmm. How would I do that differently if I had a chance to do it differently?
Mhm,
I whatever might come,
mhm,
whatever might come.
mhm.
And then it'd be like, then I think right then and there, it's like, okay, move on. I think, this is the song that's in my head. I mean, I think that Taylor Swift song about shake it off. I mean, it's like, I think if we had that in our head to program that every time we had a misstep, what we're calling a misstep, or a boo boo, or a foot in the mouth disease, or I wish I hadn't done that. I wish it hadn't happened. Whatever it is, it's like, what if all we had to do is like reflect on it and go, well, what is there anything I could learn from that? Is there anything I could learn from that? And if you can't find it, it's like, I kind of think it's like hit the ball back over the net and say, if there's something I can learn from that I'm not singing, bring it to me. And then cue up Taylor Swift. Shake it off, shake it off. And just keep coming back to try to shake it off because our mind doesn't want us to shake it off. It wants to belabor it. It wants to collect more evidence in support of shouldn't have done that. Whatever you pick, you know what I mean? It's whatever you pick. If you pick the chicken, you think you should have picked the fish. I told you should, it's like told you shouldn't have come back to work. Told you shouldn't get back to work. Like, no, you know. But to your point about moment to moment, moment to moment, and your wisdom, if we'll put our ear to it, it serves us a perfect something for where we are. That's why it doesn't work to adopt a application or something from somebody else. It might be a good idea, but if it doesn't work, it's just because it wasn't your wisdom coming to you, because just really tune in that you do have the wisdom. If that really loud part of us, if we just look away from some of that really right and wrongness that gets served up to us in any one of those moments when something happens we wish didn't happen. That's great. And then I think in any time, I mean, because the mind's, I don't know about y'all's mind, but mine wants to circle back around, visit it again. And it's like, no, shake it off, go, shake it off, shake. It's a rinse and repeat, No, I've moved on. Shake it off, but don't be discouraged when it keeps coming around, trying to get your attention. That's a great example. What else is it cooking in anybody's mind?
I don't know. I feel like my mind, I'm thinking always, what if I run out of time and not accomplish what I have set myself to accomplish? So then I realized that it has a really an opposite effect, and I keep, wasting time because of it. Sometimes I waste time by overeating, just because I want to, I don't know, want to distract myself or not think about or not to worry about wasting time. Then I waste time. So
Sounds like the human, yeah.
yeah. And then as you mentioned, little moments or little acts of like, okay, what if I grab this book that helps me, kind of educate myself about what I want to do and just read a page of it, at a time. That kind of like little change of habits, I guess. That's what I'm thinking. So it's like I'm new in this, to kind of try to trick my own mind and to help myself improve and coming out of that mood of, worrying about wasting time and get to instead of worrying and like, wasting time, basically. Little
Yeah.
act.
I think that's a great idea because it's like really, it doesn't matter what you did. Your wisdom said, this is how I interpret it. It's like, wait a minute, get out of that thinking and come to the present moment. If I read this, I'm leaving that topic and coming into this one. You see what I mean? Very intentional to leave where your mind's obsessing, you have to unplug from where your mind's obsessing. And for you at that moment, it's like, I'm going to pick up this book and read something that gives me another direction to point.
Yes.
And even just to come to the present moment, you see. So it's not even like you have to do what you read, but you see that really in the bigger picture is you're unplugging from that topic and you're coming here to the here and now.
Replacing a habit with another habit.
Well, coming into the present moment.
Exactly.
You see what I mean? Just coming into the present moment going, oh, wait, all that looks like a real something over there. Wait a minute, let me just come back to here. And if I, if I read something that is true, I mean, like true for all time, true, not true for 2024, but true for all time. And you read something, it resonates so deep in me, like, okay, this is where putting my attention, or this helps me to put my attention on something that's true for all time. And I get out of my personal chit chatter, whatever my mind's obsessing on.
Yes. I mean, first off, you go to easy way, like easy way to distract yourself from that worry. What is it? Okay, open the fridge and eat.
Sure.
But then, and that becomes your habit, what if you just, interrupt it and kind of, as you said, come to the moment versus in your mind, just, forget about it by doing something that's not good for you, which is eating. Yeah.
Totally. But do you see how that's, even if you kind of go higher up in altitude, it's like, wait a minute, human beings as a whole are not comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's not a me thing. It's kind of a human being thing. You see what I mean? Like, there's few people are happy to be uncomfortable. Yeah. So maybe that takes some of the dilemma off the table, going, oh, I'm really not a problem. I'm human. And it's like, if being uncomfortable, noticing being uncomfortable is like the catalyst for whatever action you might be taking, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You can be shopping, heroin, eating, and who social media, whatever it is, who cares? You know, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's in the human scale. Everybody's just looking to find a salve for that uncomfortable feeling. So in that place about, gosh, I think this one of the most helpful things of all is like an uncomfortable feeling can never hurt you, never cause harm. An uncomfortable feeling can never cause harm. Now, reacting to an uncomfortable feeling, start wars over that stuff. You know what I mean? It can be everything if you react to an uncomfortable feeling, but it's not a problem. You're having an uncomfortable feeling. That's normal.
How you treat it can become really uncomfortable in long run.
Well, yeah, and but the awareness that you're treating a feeling is so helpful to see that, man, I'll still go for the cookie dough, whatever, but I'm doing it with the with the awareness of I'm eating to have a different feeling. It's very different than being asleep to it, you know what I mean? And then after a while, you kind of go, God, I'm totally aware that I just have an anxious feeling, and I'll go to food. I'm just aware I'm having an uncomfortable feeling I wish I wasn't having. Give me the carbs, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. But it doesn't make you a problem. It doesn't make you do the fact, it doesn't make any factual data about you that you're doing something wrong. It's just human beings seek comfort and don't like feeling uncomfortable. Looks kind of universal to me, but that to me helps lighten the load that I'm not a problem and what I'm doing is not a problem. It's just like, my mind made me the problem in being human. Our minds can make our humanness a real problem. And here comes the weight back on, I got to fix this. Ugh. Any other thoughts or anything on that heavy, kind of the being human and shaking it off?
I'm just really struck by when you said, play with things always work out for me. Because I don't have that sort of planted in here. And when you say it, all of a sudden it's like, wow, look what I could do. So how do you inject that? Yeah, to try to play with that. That seems amazing.
Invite your own wisdom. You know what I mean? It's like, because to your point, I love the feeling like if I'm trapped in my own thinking and just to have that in my tool bag or my toolbox when I'm going, wait a minute. I might find it on a sticky note or somewhere and go, wait a minute, things always work out for me. I don't have to figure it out, but things always work. Here I am. I'm good. I'm like, the weight falls off immediately. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like you just undid your tight jeans, you know what I mean? You always have some breathing room, you have space.
Yeah, that was helpful.
I just love that thought. I just like it again, it comes back to what we were talking about, like, wait a minute, let's put it in the present moment and let's be real. Things, I mean, our resilience within us comes in support of us. We're not figuring it all out all the time.
And resources come to help from other people, and it comes.
It comes
Much of the time.
Yes. Yeah. I just feel like in if it comes with a lighter feeling, there's truth in it. If it comes with pain, I've moved away from the truth.
Mm.
Now that's just the way it looks to me. I'm saying try it out for yourself, but I know all the propaganda I believed about myself that kept me in a state of suffering or small or don't try it or don't do that. You know, it's like until you start, when you really say that this can't be, this was the talk with myself, was like, you know, like I remember on my 40th birthday, waking up so depressed and saying, if this is it, take me now. I'm not signing up for another 40 like this, you know? And it was like, because I was so burdened by my own mind and trapped in my own mind, that it painted a very dark picture until you realize it is a painting of your own mind. You know, what I signed the contract on. And it was like, and it couldn't be farther from the truth. You know what I mean? We're all just pure potential in every single moment.
Can you repeat those 2 lines you said about that? Before you said, if it comes with pain, it's not, what did you say?
It's not truth. It's not truth.
What preceded that?
That if it's true, it feels hopeful.
Ah, okay.
I probably didn't use that same words, but that's what I mean. It's like like you said, it's like, oh, things always work out for me. Just the feeling of that feels hopeful, but not for anything specific. You see what I mean? It's not like I'm hanging my hat on a specific something, but it does bring a lightness
Mm-hmm.
and a space into your head, you know?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other comments or anything before we wind down for the moment? Any comments, questions, or anything?
Thanks for making this available. I just, it's another resource and short and sweet.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to the conversation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's my great pleasure to play with this. And if you had asked me 5 years ago, you just would be having to get on a camera and do something like, no. But I was like, what the heck? Let's play with it all, you know?
Those paintings behind you, are those your paintings?
No, it's just the wall where people have painted or I have painted.
Oh, it's
It's just
wonderful.
a runoff.
Oh,
It's where you run off the page and paint outside the lines and all that kind of good stuff.
they give that feeling of freedom and everything works out and you can play. So I love seeing that.
Totally. And I would say the walls are imbued with that. The walls are imbued with an invitation to be free. I would say that you felt the energy of it, because that's the whole intent of like intuitive painting, is to challenge every thought you have about yourself and life and do it at a piece of paper, and freedom comes out the other side. So yeah, you read the energy perfectly, because that's the intent that has been held for me and everybody else that's ever painted on the wall behind me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So again, I can't thank you all enough for taking time from your day and to come in and share a conversation and just come find your people, you know, just come have a conversation. It's a delight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So be well. Take a chance to really check in, and when you feel heavy, you now know where to look. Not the scale, don't look at the scale, but you'll know where the heavy feeling's coming from for real, and it will be where the heavy feeling will always come from. No exceptions. That was fun. Had a great time in this conversation, and I so appreciate everyone that shared their insights and questions in exploring the topic of living lighter. I love the idea that it's not about sugars, not about carbs, and we can really start to see what weighs us down, whether it's the things we're not in agreement with, the pressure we put on ourselves, or just a worried, busy mind on things that aren't happening, might never happen, or maybe they already happened. If you'd like to explore working with me, please reach out to me via my website at cherieray.com. These conversations are available on my YouTube channel, and the audio is available via podcast. And my podcast is called Connected Living with Cherie Ray. Thanks for coming.